Hey guys, welcome back to Andy's Dinosaur Reviews, and today we are back with one of my personal most anticipated reviews, most anticipated figures that has released in a long time. We have the brand new Nanmu Smart Series Velociraptors. We have previously had Jurassic Park 3 style Raptors, but this time we get the pleasure of having the Jurassic Park and Lost World Jurassic Park versions of the Velociraptor, and this is the first time Nanmu has ever released these figures. Again, we have had no Jurassic Park or Lost World Jurassic Park style Raptors from them previously, so I'm really excited about that in the first place, but having super articulated versions has me really hyped, especially after how good the JP3 Raptors were. As far as the packaging goes, you can see again down here at the bottom we have Raptor Shadow Blade, and that is obviously the Jurassic Park version. You've got a really nice image of that raptor right here. Gorgeous artwork. We also have a little window area here where we can kind of see the figure within. If we come over to the side, kind of a sneak peek here of the figure. Man, does that ever look good. Oh, I'm so hyped for this. And then over here on the side, you've got the Smart Series logo, and then on the back, another image which my lights are absolutely obliterating, but a nice kind of glossy image of the Velociraptor. And then pretty much the same thing for the Lost World Jurassic Park version, except you can see Raptor Tiger Blade now down here, and then again the Velociraptor here, the image has now been changed to the Lost World style Raptor. Again, you've got the image over here on the sides, well, a few images showing the figure off, and then again the same thing going on back here on the back where, yep, I knew as soon as I turned it the lights were going to start to annihilate it, but you've got a nice shot of the Raptor there on the back as well. So let's go ahead, pop these boxes open, and bring in our brand new Velociraptors. So I've just pulled these out of the boxes, and man, I honestly was not prepared for how darn nice these are. Like, if you thought the Jurassic Park 3 Velociraptors were good, Nanmu somehow always finds a way to outdo themselves, and they definitely have with these figures. But as far as what else is included in the package, first of all, each Raptor has its, well, if my camera would focus, each Raptor has its own stand so that you can pose it in different elaborate ways, basically creating all sorts of diorama possibilities for you. It can obviously articulate as well, just like the previous stands can. You've got the ability to move these pretty much any way you want to, again, help display the figures, and then obviously open this up nice and wide and close it all the way so you can grasp your Raptor perfectly. A really nice addition to these figures, and a great stand that absolutely helps if you have any stability issues. On top of that, each Raptor comes with alternate hands. That's something the previous Raptors did not have, and as you can see, the alternate hands basically have the fingers in kind of like a creepy, wide open sort of positioning, which is definitely a fun addition to the set. Really quite like that aspect. Again, like I said, each Raptor has this going on. This is the Jurassic Park Raptor now. As far as the hands go, again, you can switch the hands out and have different hands on your Raptor compared to the ones that they actually come with. But then, as far as our actual stars here of the show, first of all, the Lost World Jurassic Park Velociraptor, and look at that, man. Like, I've been waiting so long to have what I would consider the ultimate as far as the, tiger stripe Velociraptor goes, and I don't think I've ever seen a better looking Lost World Jurassic Park Velociraptor in my life, and the paint apps on this are seriously insane. Like, absolutely one of the most impressive paint jobs, not just on this, but on the other Raptor as well, but one of the most impressive paint jobs that I have seen come from Nanmu so far. Let me go ahead and get this one standing back here. So there we go, we've got a pretty cool position for that Raptor. But we also have the Jurassic Park Velociraptor. And seriously, like, it is crazy how nice these figures are. That is far and away the best Jurassic Park Velociraptor as well that I have seen. And not long ago, I actually went ahead and customized my Hammond Collection Velociraptor to give it a, just a better, more high-quality look, better, more high-quality paint job. But geez, this puts my Raptor paint job to shame. Nanmu absolutely destroyed my paint apps with this Velociraptor. Oh, look at that. It just stands straight out of the box, apparently. I didn't even have to reposition that one. But there are our Velociraptors, and man, this is absolutely a masterpiece from both of these. And I love how incredibly accurate, incredibly screen accurate both of these raptors look. And very clearly, Nanmu put so much work into the paint apps of these figures. And at this point, like, they are killing it with these Velociraptors. The Jurassic Park 3 Raptors were beyond incredible, and these are also beyond incredible. But if we go ahead and bring our Raptors in here for a closer look, so starting with the Jurassic Park, actually we're going to go ahead and move our little tiger stripe buddy here out of the way just so we don't have anything kind of obscuring the background there and the camera trying to focus on it. But if you get nice and close and again take a look at the head sculpt of this Velociraptor, like, first of all, as far as the overall visual of the raptor, the shape of the head and everything goes, that is so spot on and so picture perfect to a Jurassic Park Velociraptor. It is absolutely insane. It looks like it literally just crawled out of the screen. On top of that, there is so much variation to the paintwork on this figure. You can see again all sorts of variations of browns and even lighter tones, darker shades of browns throughout the face of the raptor, really capturing the coloration of this raptor perfectly. There's all sorts of like slight kind of striping moving along the jawline as well, and the eyes, as you can see, have a nice gloss coat on them, but also have fine paintwork within, giving the eyes as well an extremely realistic look, as well as a spot-on tone of green when it comes to the JP Raptors. Like, look at that. That is seriously insane. I was expecting a good paint job on these, but I wasn't prepared for just how good the paint job is. Obviously, we have an articulated jaw, so we'll go ahead and get that mouth open so we can take a look at the inside. First of all, you can see, if my camera focuses correctly, we've got the skin stretching there on the inside of the mouth as we open the mouth of the raptor. We've got some variations of pinkish tones in there. We can also see the tongue sculpted out on the inside of the mouth, also painted with a pinkish tone. And if my camera would stop losing focus, we can see the teeth. They also have that really cool, almost like a translucency to them, but they're not really translucent. They just have like that perfect shine, that perfect look of very realistic teeth. They also have a genuine sharp look to them as well, which is a massive plus. You can see the teeth on the lower jaw as well have the exact same thing going on. Incredibly realistic when it comes to the overall paintwork and, of course, the material that they use for the teeth. You can also see the sculpt work there on the upper side of the inside of the mouth. Everything looks fantastic inside the mouth of this raptor. It's just kind of hard to get in there because, again, it's a little bit of a small raptor head. But as you move up here to the top of the head, just like the raptors in the film, you can see that we've kind of got like that lighter brown creeping through all of the darker browns up here on the top of the head. And you see that as you move down through the course of the neck, you continue to see that same exact look when it comes to the paint apps of this figure. You also start to see those yellowish brown tones that are exactly what you see on the Jurassic Park Velociraptor, and as you move down you'll see those very subtle spots, which again are also exactly what you see on the Jurassic Park Velociraptor. And man, that paintwork is absolutely masterclass. It looks so ridiculously perfect and realistic. We also have this lighter tone moving along the underbelly, and they've applied a nice wash to it so that all of the cracks and crevices of the skin are highlighted perfectly throughout. We will go over the articulation of the rest of the figure eventually, but I really want to go over the sculpts and everything first. But as we move down, you can see even more variation of color, as well as kind of like some stripes moving down, and you also have more of those yellowish browns. You can even see slight tints of like greenish tones in the stomach, just showing that there is so much paint application on these figures that looks incredibly realistic and lifelike. And as you move down into the arms, we can see, obviously, again, if my camera focuses correctly, we've got some more of those lighter variations of browns, darker variations of browns, just lots and lots of variation of color leading down through the course of the arms. As you lead down into the hands, you've got the nice scoots moving down the fingers right there. We can see those as well are highlighted with a darker tone. As you move down into the nails, nails, and the nails have a nice genuine sharp look to them as well, and they're also of course painted, which is a plus. You definitely don't want to have a paint job this nice and not have painted nails. They look great as far as the paint job goes, and even the undersides of the palms of the hands look really good when it comes to both the detailing and paintwork. The wash that they've applied to the figure looks excellent everywhere. As you move back up into the stomach, you can see a really smooth transition to that lighter tone of the underbelly that does show up there just a little bit in the stomach region. You can also see some more really subtle kind of spots have been added to that area. As we move back, we have more of those browns, and again, the lighter browns moving along the top, perfectly applied exactly the way that it looks on the Velociraptors in Jurassic Park. As you move down, you've got more of that going on, as well as incredibly vibrant detailing. You can see some more of those really subtle spots and everything, as well as the different variations of browns. Nice muscle definition in the thigh, darker tones of brown moving along the front of the leg. As you move down, you can see the knee. We can also see the calf muscle, definitely quite bulging right there. As you move down, you see even more of those yellowish browns, as well as the lighter tones leading into the feet of our raptors, and the scoots are highlighted with a darker tone as you lead down. You've got gorgeous skin texture leading down into the feet. You've also got the nails sculpted out and painted quite nicely, and you can even see kind of like some fine detail within the nails themselves. Like, look at that sickle claw over there. If I can get my hand in that spot, it's hard to tell where I'm at when it comes to looking through the camera. But that sickle claw is as highly detailed as it gets. It is incredible when it comes to the detailing of that small area. And then we lead back up here, and you start to pick up that really cool striping as you lead out into the tail. You again have the lighter tones of the underside, the darker tones of the upper side, and all of the variation of color in between with the different shades of browns, yellowish browns, everything leading the entire way out through the tail. As you lead out, the darker tones start to kind of overtake the tip of the tail as well. Man, that is absolutely incredible when it comes to a Jurassic Park Velociraptor. When it comes to kind of like a mass-produced, I don't know if you'd really say they're mass-produced because I don't know exactly what the number is. I think the Smart Series figures are kind of limited, but at the same time, I don't know how limited, but either way, I can say that when it comes to a factory-painted figure, the Nanmu paint jobs are seriously untouchable. I don't think anybody can compete with Nanmu when it comes to just how good their paint jobs look. And then, of course, we've got our gorgeous tiger-striped Velociraptor. And when you get nice and close, look at how good that looks. They've captured every ounce of what you would want to see on the Lost World Jurassic Park Velociraptor, as well as, again, the eye tone perfectly right there. You've got all of the darker shades of color, like circling around the eye and kind of striping down, and more of it running down here through the snout and palate and everything. You've also got the nostrils highlighted with a darker tone. You've got even slight variation of color down here in the lower jaw, ever so slight. You've also got that dark wash at play on this raptor, highlighting all of the detail perfectly. The tones of orange used are perfect. We can even see some of the slight yellowish tones, which you would expect to see between the oranges and the lighter tones. You can see some of that creeping through as well. So obviously Nanmu has gone and done their homework when it comes to the paint jobs of a Velociraptor from Jurassic Park and the Lost World Jurassic Park, and you even have that striping moving down the center of the head and then extending out here on the top of the head. We also, of course, have an articulated jaw for this raptor as well, which you can see. We have the same sort of look for the inside of the mouth, but a little bit different as far as the shades of pink used. It looks like maybe just slightly lighter when it comes to the shades of pink on the Lost World version, but I can also see kind of like a reddish wash, just a really subtle red wash on the inside of the mouth of this one. We have the same sort of look for the teeth. Again, those super realistic teeth with the nice satin shine on everything inside the mouth. Absolutely incredible looking, and the jaw works perfectly as usual. The Smart Series articulation is always perfect. Whenever I get one of these figures, I've yet to encounter any issues whatsoever when it comes to the articulation. Now, moving down, I would think that the majority, if not the entire sculpt of this one is the same as the Jurassic Park Raptor, because overall they do have the same look, just different paint apps on them. So the detailing aspect we really shouldn't need to go over too much moving through, but I will say that it is absolutely fantastic on this figure, and as you can very clearly see, it is extremely crisp and impressive. But as we move down, we do have that, classic tiger stripe look with all of the striping moving down through the back of the neck. You can also see the incredibly smooth transitions between colors leading down through the body. Leading along the back, you do have more of that tiger stripe, again moving down, that striping along the back, and it is perfectly applied, really smooth and naturally applied. We even have some of those stragglers, which again is exactly as you see on the Lost World Jurassic Park Velociraptors, where you see some of that patterning just kind of breaking up and leading down. As you lead down through the arms, you've got more of those really nice oranges as well as those dark browns, again striping through, looking absolutely awesome. Leading down into the hands, my camera loses focus. Maybe it'll get it back. There we go. So you can see the darker browns leading down along the tops of the fingers as well. Again, leading down into the nails, which are painted beautifully, and again have that nice genuine sharp look to them. Leading back into the stomach, you can see a lighter tone here. Again, transitioning very smoothly up to those gorgeous oranges. As we move back, you can see, again, the striping effect leading down through the thigh. And actually, let me pull the legs back up here because I have them back kind of. You can see them lead all the way down through the shins of the Velociraptor. Again, the lighter tone moving along the back and the calf and the back of the thigh. And then as you lead down, you have the darker tone basically moving over the scoots, as well as some variation of color with like some oranges leading along, and then transitioning very smoothly to that light underside, or I should say the light underside of the toes and the back of the legs right there. We again have the nails again painted with the darker tone like we saw. Kind of looks like a dark brown, like a really dark brown. And then we lead up, and as we lead out, we have all of the incredible striping as you lead out through the length of the tail, as well as those nice oranges, the light underside and the dark wash, absolutely tying everything together perfectly. You can see the detailing on the underside of the Raptor is absolutely gorgeous as well. Oh man, I am so excited about these figures. These are like the Jurassic Park Velociraptors. Like, I really cannot see it getting any better than these Velociraptors. So, like, no matter what, whenever somebody makes one in the future, I feel like this would be the standard. Like, this is the bar you would have to exceed. So, unfortunately, good luck to whoever decides to try to do that, because these are about as incredible as it gets when it comes to a JP and Lost World Jurassic Park Velociraptor. But as far as the actual articulation goes, again, we already saw the articulated jaw, which works very nicely. You've also got a spot of articulation right here, which can move up and down and left and right, can kind of swivel a little bit. You've also got another spot right here, which moves, again, a little bit of a swivel action and up and down, and then another spot right here, up and down, and also swivels, and that allows you to get some really nice posability in the neck for the Velociraptor. Again, looking up, looking down, really nice posability, absolutely giving you an incredible articulated neck for the Velociraptor, allowing all sorts of different poses and display options for the figure. As you move down, you also, of course, have arm articulation forward and back, and also out away from the body a little bit. As you lead down from there, you've got the elbow, which is super stiff right now. We could see the joint right there. It obviously is going to feature the same articulation that we had on the JP3 Raptors, and I really don't want to take a chance of potentially damaging it, so I'm not going to force it right now, but obviously that arm would articulate and swivel. It is swiveling. It's just that joint is a little stiff. I don't know if we're going to get that one. Oh, I don't want to try it. I'm not going to break this. But we also have the wrist, which you can see swiveling and also moves up and down. See, that one's broken in. That one's nice and smooth as far as that articulation goes. But obviously, the elbow is a little stiff right now, which I think at this point, and again, if you haven't seen yet, check out the Jurassic Park 3 Raptors. You'll have a better visual of the elbow moving in that review. But we also have the midsection, which is also a little stiff, can go up and down and left and right. You've got a little bit of leeway there. Not a whole lot of movement in that area, but I don't really feel like you should have a whole lot of movement in that area because honestly, how much could it really bend that area of the body without breaking its spine? And as we lead back, we also have the hip articulation, which is incredibly, incredibly smooth, getting that leg up nice and high and actually grabbing onto the hand. We can also move out away from the body, which we can see, and then leading down. I feel like the knee is going to be stiff. Yep, it absolutely is. So the knee is not moving at all right now. You can see it starting to wiggle. But again, I don't like, this is one thing that's very important. If you grab a figure like this and, you pull it out of the box and the joints are stiff, it is so unbelievably important. And I cannot stress enough, so important not to force the joint, because if you do, you're probably going to break the figure. You might get lucky, it might not break, but if you run into a joint that is stiff like that, you definitely don't want to try forcing it. Basically, what you would want to do is either dip it in really warm water, like hot water, not just warm water, and then let it in there for, 30, 40 seconds maybe, and then just pull it out and try to move it. If that doesn't work, you can put it back in for a little bit longer, or use a hair dryer to warm it up and then ease it into the movement, and it should start going after that. But obviously, the knee is meant to go forward and back. I'm not going to force it because I'm definitely not going to break a masterpiece like this. I will have to just work on that later on after the review. But again, I'm pretty sure the Jurassic Park 3 Raptors articulation was moving fairly smoothly in that review, so it's the same articulation as that. Overall, are very close to being, the same figure outside of obviously some differences with the head sculpts and stuff, and the paint jobs are massively different. This is obviously far more accurate to what you do see when it comes to the way the Raptors look in Jurassic Park and the Lost World Jurassic Park. We've also got another spot right here, which moves forward and back and also swivels. Again, it is a little stiff, but it's also super cold in my dinosaur dungeon, which I think could also be one of the reasons why the joints are so stiff on this right now. And then as you move down, you've got another spot right here with the feet forward and back, also can swivel a little bit there, you can see. And since we have the leg turned out here, you can see you can actually articulate the sickle claw, the toe, as well. It can actually go all the way back right there, but I think it also has the ability to go forward and back. Yeah, so you can see it going forward and back a little bit. Like I said, the legs on the Raptor outside of the hips are really, really stiff, and I definitely, so this side's moving pretty good. There we go. You can see right there, again, forward back. It's making some interesting noises, but it is moving. And that side, that part right there is a little stiff. So definitely going to have to break out the hair dryer for this one and, loosen up those joints. But obviously the tail goes up, down, left, right, and is a wire tail, so you can bend it into pretty much any position you want, which is always a great thing. And obviously, the Jurassic Park Velociraptor is going to feature all of that same articulation, just like the Jurassic Park 3 Velociraptors did. Let's see if the knee's moving. Nope, also super stiff. I really should not have let these sit down here in my cold basement before reviewing them. I should have taken them upstairs and warmed them up first. But go ahead and get this guy standing again. That's kind of an awkward position, but we'll go ahead and get it a measurement in that position. As far as a size goes, lengthwise in the position it's standing in right now, about 12.5 inches or around 31.5 centimeters. And then for a height, about 5.25 inches or 13.5 centimeters. For a size comparison, there is Mr. Papo T-Rex, the Attack Pack Colovosaurus, Robert Muldoon, and the Collect A human being next to our beyond epic Jurassic Park Nanmu Smart Series Velociraptor, and you can see roughly what the size is, but as I said, these should be right around the same size, I think, as the Jurassic Park 3 Velociraptors, so we should have already ironed out a pretty good amount of comparisons for these as far as the size goes in the original Jurassic Park 3 Raptors review. But we'll go ahead, grab that Jurassic Park 3 Raptor and bring it in and compare it next to these incredible Raptors. So as you can see with the Raptors going face to face, you can very clearly see that they are pretty much the same size. I think the only thing I noticed that might be slightly different is the tail length on the Jurassic Park 3 Raptor, because it does actually have, if you look over here, it has one extra seam as you move out. You've got this little section, which they don't have on the newer one, which I actually like. I feel like that improves the overall visual of the newer ones over the older ones, which is a plus. But that's the only thing I can notice that would really differentiate the two would be the tail length. But other than that, they are pretty much the exact same size as far as every other aspect of the figure. And also, just to show you guys, as far as the knee articulation goes, you can obviously move it very nicely, just to kind of give you one more shot of it from the Jurassic Park 3 Raptor. Obviously, you can move those areas very nicely because these are worn in, even though they're sitting here in the basement, again, in the cold basement, but you can see they are more worn in as I've articulated these guys a bunch of times since I got them, and obviously those joints are working a little bit smoother, but how cool do they look together? It is so insanely cool to have the Jurassic Park 3 as well as the Jurassic Park and the Lost World Jurassic Park Velociraptors. Let me go ahead and actually get all of these together. And look at that for an incredible visual of the different versions of Velociraptors from the Jurassic Park franchise, obviously excluding Jurassic World. But when it comes to the different variations of Velociraptors from Jurassic Park all the way up until Jurassic Park 3, you can now complete them here with these insane Nanmu Velociraptors, far and away the single best super articulated Jurassic Park Velociraptors you are ever going to find. Man, I can't even begin to tell you guys how in love with these figures I am. So these brand new Nanmu Smart Series super articulated Jurassic Park and Lost World Jurassic Park Velociraptors are some of the absolute most impressive figures I have ever seen. Overall, their sculpts are ridiculously spot on. They look like they pretty much crawled straight out of the movie here and onto my review station. They absolutely sport all of the incredible fine detail you would expect to see on Jurassic Park Velociraptors. It is extremely crisp and very impressive when it comes to the way it looks on the figures themselves, and also is as screen accurate as you are ever going to find. You can very clearly see Nanmu really did their homework, and they always do, especially over the last few years. Like, they've really been hammering out their best work ever, I think, especially when it comes to screen accuracy, and they very much so have done the same here with these Velociraptors, as I said, especially when it comes to the head sculpts, which I feel like is one of the most important areas of a Jurassic Park Velociraptor to really capture, because it's very easy to make something that looks similar, but it's not easy, in my opinion, to make sure you capture it perfectly. But Nanmu absolutely did far and away capture the overall look and feel of both the Jurassic Park and Lost World Jurassic Park Velociraptors head sculpts perfectly. On top of that, the paint jobs are unbelievable. Easily the best, in my opinion, paint jobs I have ever seen from Nanmu. Like, they captured everything that you would want to see on both variations of Velociraptors so realistically, so smoothly, and so naturally. Everything on these figures when it comes to the paint apps is incredibly naturalistic and smooth. It 100% looks like body color, and again, just looks so perfect in comparison to the way it looks on screen. And on top of that, we also have lots of articulation. Of course, one of the biggest selling points of the Smart Series releases is the articulation and the fact that you have so much of it, which works so nicely on these figures outside of a few stiff joints that I have to warm up in the legs and everything, and the elbows. But other than that, the articulation seems to work absolutely as perfectly as it did on the Jurassic Park 3 Velociraptors, which means it's absolutely epic in every way. So, two masterpieces here from Nanmu. If you are interested in grabbing these, you can acquire them from Lana Time Shop. So make sure you check that link that I will include in the description, where you can head on over there, grab yourself a pair of both of these, or numerous of both of these, because I can assure you I'm going to be going back and double dipping again, at least for the Jurassic Park Raptor. I gotta get two more so that I can complete the trio. Who knows what the world will hold for me when it comes to that tiger striped raptor, though. The sky is the limit as far as the amount of those I'm going to grab, and I also need to grab myself some more of those JP3 Raptors, because I need to create more of a pack of those as well. But if you are interested, again, check the links in the description, grab yourself some of these incredible Raptors, and like, comment, and subscribe, and I will see you in the next review. Thanks for watching.